Hey guys! In today's video I'll be doing the Artstyle Bend challenge that is currently trending on Instagram. Basically you take the characteristics of your art style and then you do the exact opposite. So I asked my followers what they thought were the most recognizable traits of my style, and while some of the answers were a bit contradictory, there were a lot of people mentioning the same things. So first, I will draw a character in my own style. And today's lucky subject is Eloin, who I haven't drawn in a few months, so congratulations Eloin, you can collect your paycheck on the way out. And afterwards I'll draw sort of the anti-version of my style. So I wanted both versions to have the same pose, just mirrored. I saw some other artists do it this way, and I thought it was just the perfect way to put the two styles up against each other. And the 7 major features of my art style, according to my followers, are semi-realistic shading, edgy expressions, detailed hair. Oh boy, this one is so true. Clean line art. This one is kind of funny because a few mentioned I had a lineless look, but I guess it depends on the individual drawing I made. I suppose when I do line art, it is pretty clean. No circles. Yeah, I love drawing little round noses with a little circle on top. Something that has just been stuck with me for a while now. I'm not sure why I do it. It's just something I really love to add, that little circle. It's actually really hard not to. Then there's eye bags and nose bridge lines. Generally lines around the eyes. And yes, this is a pretty dominant feature in my faces, so I would have been surprised if no one mentioned this. It was actually the feature most people mentioned, so it's probably the most recognizable thing about my style, to be honest. And lastly, saturated colors, which is also kind of funny thing because I always thought I didn't use enough saturated colors, but I trust my followers, so I'll include it. So these are the things you can typically expect to see in my current style. There are some other characteristics that were mentioned a few times that I didn't include as part of the big main features, but I did think about them when I drew the anti-version. One of them is that I often draw oval or almond-shaped eyes. I also use sharp and raised eyebrows, and the lips were also mentioned a few times. There were also some features I thought about myself, and that was the fact that I often draw very sharp lines around the neck and collarbone area, and my female characters often have at least a C cup. I also often spend a lot of time rendering details and textures, so I definitely want to try to do the opposite of that when drawing the anti-art style. I'm speaking as if I didn't do it already, because this is actually recorded after I did it. So I kind of ruined the excitement for myself there. By the way, if you're interested in watching the drawing footage at a much calmer speed, the 2-hour version will be available on my Patreon in the upcoming term, which is term 16. Sign up to at least the hero tier, which is $5, before September 1st. And then you'll get this video in a much slower version within the first week of September. While I was reading the answers from my followers and generally just thinking about the features of my art style, I once again, like I do every so occasionally, started thinking about the definition of an art style, and even though I made an entire video about it, and I think I also talked a lot about it in one of my Q&A videos, maybe, I don't really remember. It's still something that a lot of people ask me about, like how to find your art style or what to do. Wait, that's the same kind of question. But like a lot of questions about art styles, and I think at this point I might even be able to make an updated version of my art style video, because I feel like I've learned a lot about what defines an art style, which is still kinda overrated, I think, to talk about art styles, because it seems like something that people tend to care much more about than just sitting down and getting good at drawing. To a lot of people it seems like it's more important to find that style fast and have something recognizable. And as I was sitting down just drawing this challenge, I started to thinking about how my style had evolved and what I have actively done, because I have actually done something actively to try get an art style. Not necessarily because I really needed one or wanted one, more like because I thought it was exciting to mix all kind of things together into one unique whole. I think it's just something I find really entertaining and exciting to explore. And I think as you develop your skills, you will automatically start developing your style. I think that was the main point of my art style video back then. I think it was in 2018. Wow, that's a long time ago. But I've also come to realize that there is some kind of like hard work, manual training into actually focusing on an art style, like being influenced by the artist that you really like, and pull pieces from, like tiny pieces from each artist, and then combining it together into your own. And I realized there has been a lot of talk about this on YouTube and Instagram and other art sites as well, about that's considered stealing others' style. But I don't really think that you can steal someone's style, because as soon as you put the pen down on the paper, you're still drawing it technically in a different way than the artist you're trying to copy. So already there is something unique about it because it's you drawing it. But I'm not saying you should just copy other styles. I think it's important to have many different influences from different artists. Like I think actually the circle on the nose and the lines around the eyes, I actually think I picked that up from Alessandro Barbucci back in the day. That's also why when you see my characters like from the side in the profile view, they have like really long jaws and big poofy lips. I also think I have that from Alessandro, but I think I've moved more away from his style and combined it with a lot of other things that I've seen in the past 3 or 4 years, which is super exciting to see. You guys then mentioning that kind of things that I think I actually got from someone else being so dominant in my style. That's kind of funny. But we are approaching the end now for my own typical Nadiaxel art style. So it's almost time that we create the anti-art style. And before I move on, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. And I want to thank them for sponsoring not 1 but 2 of my videos this month. If you missed the previous one, it was my another 10 art styles challenge, which I uploaded just around 2 weeks ago. If you're looking to improve your creative skills, Skillshare offers classes in so many areas, from project management in your illustration business or side hustle, to video editing your art videos for YouTube, down to the core principles of drawing such as facial expressions, character design, or even comics, and much more. Lately I've been watching this class that Jasa just launched. It's a 2-hour class conveniently divided into 14 chapters that take you through all the knowledge of illustration that Jasa has acquired as a professional artist. You're welcome, Jasa. Use my Skillshare link in the description to get access to all of the thousands of classes for 2 whole months. And if your watch list requires you to stay longer than that, you can sign up for either a monthly or yearly membership. The yearly subscription is equivalent to less than $10 a month, which I personally think is a very reasonable price for the amount of content that you get access to. So thanks a lot to Skillshare for helping out my channel this month, and to you guys for listening. Let's move on with this video. Okay, so it's time to move on to the anti-art style, and I have put the anti-characteristics or my style characteristics out to the side so you can see them at all times. Those were just the major things, and then there were also like the things that I mentioned that I had come up with or noticed, and some other followers had noticed as well. So I'm definitely doing some really simplified hair here. And I'm also doing not oval almond shaped eyes, because I'm focusing a lot of having that straight line. Then I'm also giving her kind of like a nice smile, I think, instead of being like a person you would suspect would kick your ass in a minute. One of the things I was really thinking about when I did this AntiStyle is that there is actually, probably not at least, an actual real anti-style to my art style, because everything is about interpretation. So for instance, I'm not allowed to do semi-realistic shading But the alternative could be so many other things. So I could do like just flat without any shading at all. Or I could do like realistic shading, like hyper realistic shading. Or I could do like cell shading like I'm kind of doing in this one. So already there, just in the shading, you would have totally different outcomes. And it's the same, I could have chosen any kind of shape for the eyes, any kind of expression, any kind of simplified hair to her. I think the point is, I'm not sure, but I think the point is there should still be some recognizability in the art style, or the art bended, no, not art bend, but the bended art style, so that it can still be recognized as your art, but just in a different style. I hope that makes sense. So I kept some aspect, like I was considering doing using another brush for the line art to make it look more messy. So I would have to go and find an opposite brush of what my brush does, and I thought that became too complicated, and I had to like think about every little detail had to be the opposite of what my art style is. So instead I decided to just focus on those major things that my followers and I myself came up with. So I was actually going to draw like a whole different body type, but since the body type wasn't really brought up that much, I thought I should just draw it as I usually do. So I have a very muted version here of my art style with some very basic shading. And I actually also tried to spend a lot less time on this to make it look more rushed, as opposed to my otherwise always fully rendered pieces where I draw like details that people would never see. So it's fun to imagine that this could be my art style, even though, as I said before, that is probably not a complete opposite version of my style due to interpretation. But this has been a really fun challenge, and I'm actually not disappointed in my style. I think it's very cute. I don't think I would be able to work with as muted colors as this one has though. I realize now, looking at these two, that I do use a lot of bright and saturated colors, which I really love. So, but it was really fun. I say really many times. I'm sorry, it's Friday and I'm in a hurry. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to claim your 2 free months at Skillshare using my link below. I'll see you hopefully already next week. I have some video ideas, but I'm also really busy, so I'll do whatever I can, guys, okay? Have a nice weekend and take care. Bye!